Everyone, welcome to the Springfield Township Board of Trustee meeting. It is October 11th, 2016, about 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burning, could we please have the roll call?
Yes, Mr. Burning?
Present.
Ms. McFarland?
Present.
Mr. Honolaw?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
This evening for the Pledge of Allegiance from Boy Scout Troop 682, we have two young men who are working on their merit badges for citizenship in the community, and that's Matthew Shaw and Ryan Rich. And Matthew and Ryan, would you come up here, please, and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. The first thing that we have here this evening on our agenda is we have a special certificate of appreciation, which is going to be given to Tom Lennon this evening. And I believe, Chief Leininger, you have the privilege of saying a few words.
I do. Thank you, Joe. It is a privilege. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Mr. Tom Lennon. Tom Lennon started his 22 years of public service with the Northern Hills Volunteer Fire Department in 1994. After completing his training, Tom became a paramedic. In 1996, he was one of the first part-time employees hired by the newly formed Springfield Township Fire Department. Tom's dedication and commitment to the people who live and work in Springfield Township is exemplary. His knowledge of construction and skills as a tradesman made him a valuable asset to the department. Tom moved to Clarksville, Ohio in 2002. We thought that Tom would resign, but due to the 60-mile commute, but his love and passion for public service prevailed. He continued to work his regular Monday night shift for 14 years. Tom will be truly missed. His positive can-do attitude and lead-by-example leadership style will be difficult to replace. A special thank you and recognition to Tom's wife, Michelle, daughter Ashley, and sons Garrett, Ross, and Mitchell for sharing Tom with us. The time away from home and the worry that comes with being a firefighter's wife, daughter, and son is often overlooked. We value that support, and we will forever be grateful. Tom, we wish you well as you step away from the fire department, and thank you for the 22 years of service as a firefighter and paramedic. You will forever be part of the Springfield Township family. Congratulations.
Tom, if you would step forward, we have a plaque for you. Tom, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Springfield Township, we want to present you with this certificate of appreciation for all your many years of public service to Springfield Township, your hard work in the fire department. Thank you very, very much. We could have a round of applause. Is there anything I might say? Thank you. All right. Next thing on our agenda this evening is we have a park levy update, and we have Jack Sutton here, who is the Executive Director of Great Parks of Hamilton County. And Jack, I believe you have a presentation for us.
I'll be brief.
Okay.
But thank you very much for having me this evening. Again, Jack Sutton, I'm Executive Director for Your Great Parks of Hamilton County. We are on the ballot this year. We don't come around very often, but on November 8th, we're seeking the support from Hamilton County voters for a 1 mil replacement levy. So if I may, I'll just take a couple of minutes just to remind who we are, what we do, and why this levy is so important. So Great Parks of Hamilton County has been in existence since 1930. We've been providing outdoor recreation and conservation services for 86 years, but probably more importantly to Springfield Township, we've maintained Winton Woods Park since 1953. So for 63 years, we've been serving Springfield Township very intimately. Our mission is a three-legged stool. It's mostly about conservation of natural resources, outdoor recreation, and outdoor education. Countywide, we manage 17,000 acres, 21 parks and nature preserves, and there's a park or nature preserve within 6 miles of every household in Hamilton County. Trails, hiking, biking is the most favored activity, 78 miles of trails, and we count 1.1 million trail visits a year. In Winton Woods, that lake or the trail around the harbor is our most popular trail in the county. So we obviously serve Springfield Township very closely, but we cover the entire county very comprehensively. In fact, surveys show that 74% of all county residents have used a great park at least once in the last year. The tax is very important. We're asking the voters to do the same thing they did in 1988 and 2002, and that's to pass a 1 mil levy, a 1 mil replacement tax. We've only been to the voters twice in 28 years. We've had 15-year terms, those two cycles. We are backing that down to a 10-year levy term, so it's a 1 mil levy for a 10-year period. The cost to the property of $100,000 would be $35 a year. One thing what makes us very unique is we don't just rely solely on tax income. We're the most self-reliant county park district in Ohio. While 55% of our total revenues come from taxes, primarily the levy, 45% come from non-taxes. And compared to our peer average is about 7%, we're over 40%. So we leverage that non-tax dollar as far as possible. One example of that is that motor vehicle permit that many of us have in our windshields. Our board took action this year to create a tiered pricing. So now non-Hamilton County residents, out-of-county residents will pay more than in-county residents. They will pay $5 a day or $14 a year. The county resident will continue to pay $3 a day and $10 a year. So when our board looked at a levy amount and size, it was took great care in making sure we did the right thing for the county taxpayer and the right thing for the park. So with the passage of this levy, we'll be able to continue to provide all the services and activities that we currently provide, address our most critical infrastructure needs, and address some of the more critical new projects in front of us. One is dredging of Sharon Lake. Those of you that were around in the 1980s may have remembered Sharon Lake was dredged in the 80s, Winton Lake was dredged in the 90s. Well, we're on that 30-year cycle where Sharon is due to be dredged again. With the passage of this levy, we'll be able to take care of that in the next 10 years. So I know you have a long agenda, and I don't want to take up too much time. If there are any questions you have, I would be happy to answer those. I also have some leave behind, some basically educate and inform information about the levy, what it will do for the parks, how it impacts the homeowner, and so forth. I can leave those here or at the door or wherever you'd like.
Jack, if you would leave those at the table back by the door, that way people can pick them up as they leave the meeting.
Thank you.
All right.
I would like to add one more thing. We've had a phenomenal relationship with Springfield Township, police, fire, EMS, the administration. We've worked very closely together, and that's one thing we're very proud of, is try to leverage partnerships with other public entities or nonprofit entities. We know that's the way to do business now and in the future, and we want to continue that.
Well, thank you, Jack. Are there any questions?
I just want to share with anyone that's in here that has not walked around that trail around the pond, it is just fabulous. I mean, you can walk around, and I like the way that you have designated just, I guess you do it every 1/4 of a mile or something, just how far you've gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a nice way and a refreshing and a healthy way to walk around it twice, because it comes out to 3 miles, isn't
Mm-hmm.
that correct?
I think that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
So it's a really healthy trail to walk around, and pleasant as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks,
We
Jack.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you. The next thing on our agenda is approval of minutes from our regular session on September 13th, 2016, and our regular work session on September 27th, 2016. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, Mr. Burning, we have the fiscal officer report.
Yes, for the month ending September 30th, 2016, the township expenditures were $1,975,373.19. The receipts were $5,725,118.60. That left the ending cash balance at $20,910,767.67, including obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. What I request is a motion to approve the receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenue and reports for the period ending September 30th, 2016. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and I just want to let everyone know financial reports are available for viewing at the administrative offices weekdays during regular business hours and on our website anytime. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Dan. Next, moving on to departmental action and discussion items. Mr. Hennenkamp, do we have a report?
We do, Mr. Honor-Law. A very brief report tonight, just two action items. The first is that time of year again, and it's that time of year for us to officially establish the time and date for Halloween. And we would recommend, as we always have, that the celebration of Halloween actually take place on the date, October 31st, and it be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And just need a motion from the board to establish that.
So moved.
Second it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Second action item is a liquor permit request. This is actually not a new permit, as I understand it, Chief. This is actually just a change in name, I think, of one of the shareholders. The permit is for Shri Brahmani, doing business as the Winton Sunoco at 9177 Winton Road. And again, it's not a new permit or a change in the permit, just the name that's on the permit. So obviously, I don't believe we have any objections to that.
No objection, no.
So that in mind, I would just,
With that in mind, do we have a motion to have the fiscal officer send the appropriate correspondence to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control?
So moved.
Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
just one update to give the board. At our last work session, we had a conversation about the Warder Nursery property that the township owns, and that, if the board may recall in the conversation that we had a few weeks ago, when the township purchased that property back in 1999, in between the time we purchased and really figured out what we were going to use the property for, is we added that to our insurance list. Our insurance company requested that it be posted no parking. Since it technically wasn't a park, it didn't have any of the parking facilities. The trails were not constructed for a park. And so,
no parking.
I said no parking, I'm sorry, no trespassing. Signs, and I think, Mike, we probably posted 5 or 7 signs. 7 signs were posted around the property at that time. With all of the discussion that we've had about the property in the last, I guess, probably been a little more than a year or so, more recently as we look to developing that property, clearly there's been a lot of discussion about people entering that property and going on that property. I've had requests from certain groups that want to give guided tours, and it's become something that's become a little bit more of an attraction for the area. So in doing so, it's been, I think at every one of our meetings or every time it comes up in conversation, they refer to that property as Warder Park. And the fact of the matter is the property never has been a park and is not a park today. It is a green space, and I think we fully understand that. Probably since you were a young boy, there's people that have entered that property, have walked that property. There's people that do lots of harmless and leisurely things on the property, and that's not what we're trying to stop, but we were required by our insurance carrier to post it in that manner to make people aware that there are certain dangers inherent on the property, and it's not a maintained park by Springfield Township in accordance to any of the standards that we would have to set if it officially was. So in looking, asking Mike to just check and say, are those signs still up? Because obviously everybody's referring to it as a park. Don't they understand it's not? We noticed that there were probably 4 or 5 of them that had been removed or had been vandalized, and so simply at the meeting in our work session, we talked about the reposting those signs, just so people were aware. That by no means, and as I said at that meeting, we're not trying to start a fight. We're not trying to be antagonistic about it. We realize people are going to continue to, use the property probably as they have for many, many years. That's our intent, is not to patrol it and go down and look for ways to find people that are trespassing unless they're doing something on that property that is illegal, and that obviously happens from time to time. Or if they're doing damage to the property. But that's the basis. I've had some phone calls, I've had some emails to that effect, and I just wanted to clarify what that was. I also want to clarify that some of the questions and some of the confusion might be that we're talking about the paths that run along the boundary of the property, and those are used by school kids. We're not talking about those, and those are not where the signs are posted. They're posted actually internally on the site, more so. So the existing walking paths that are there are fine. That's not what we're talking about. But the reason for that is just to make sure that we are doing staying in compliance from a liability standpoint. So difficult issue, but that was the intent, and I know we talked about that at our work session, but just wanted to make that clear that there have been a few people that have noticed and have been upset by it. So the only other thing I had is the personnel update, and a lot of activity in the last month. I'm happy to report the promotion of Mike Stein to the position of Captain of Code Enforcement. The effective date of his promotion was October the 1st. Also happy to, we've added 2 new full-time paramedic firefighters, Adam Tonis, effective October the 3rd, and also Michael Young, same effective date, October the 3rd. Did accept the resignation of Nicholas McCoon as a part-time paramedic firefighter. The effective date of his resignation was October the 7th. We did have the retirement of Burton Roberts as sergeant in our police department. Bert was a 22-year, I believe, veteran of our department, so certainly wish Bert well in his retirement. Did accept the resignation of Tom Pritchard as a police officer effective October the 2nd, and we had a new hire, Ken Bowles, as a part-time police officer on October the 4th, and Marty Case was promoted to the position of sergeant. The effective date of Marty's promotion is October the 8th. Kim, I'd ask you to bring us up to date on what's going on in community events and programs.
This Friday, Arts Connect is presenting its final dinner theater performance of the year. We're bringing in the show Dracula, which is a radio drama. On October the 15th, we're part of the Festival, which Arts Connect is a beneficiary of that event that's going on downtown. And October the 28th, we're bringing Playhouse in the Park back up to Springfield Township and the Grove. They're going to do a free performance of Robin Hood for kids. They are allowed to wear their Halloween costumes, go trick-or-treating after the event. It's always a big popular program. And then the one that we're really looking forward to working hard on is November the 11th and 12th is our local artist show that's held up at Centennial Art. We've already got 30 local artists registered, and we're also featuring the gallery with artwork by Charlie Harper. We're going to have live music, wine tasting. It's a really nice event.
Very good. Thank you, Kim. Okay, anything else, Mr. Henry?
That's, I know the board has copies of the departmental activity reports, so unless there's any questions, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Moving on then to the resolutions this evening. The first resolution that we have is resolution number 94, 2016, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, we have Resolution Number 95, 2016, establishing assessment for abatement of nuisance and certifying the same to the Hamilton County Auditor. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And before we go on to the next resolution, Mike, I saw where in your report, we cleaned up 42 properties last month, so that's over one a day. And I imagine some of these properties I see, by the time we get to them, there are high weeds. I mean, what's the average number of hours that we spend on cleaning up one of those? Do you know, or?
Typically, it's a three-man I would say on average, they're at that individual property for about an hour and a half.
Okay.
You're looking at, yeah, that's the typical average.
So these guys are working every week. I mean, really, that crew's probably pretty much doing these all the time?
That is correct, yeah. It's usually John Gilhousen, our road supervisor, leading that effort, and he usually has two people working with him. And it's kind of nice that things are starting to slow down. I can tell you that. Spring, things, they couldn't keep up. It slowed down for a short period of time, and then we got all that rain late August and early September, and then it was back over again, so.
And this is one of the things that we did here in the township to try and cut our budget to bring this in-house. In prior years, we had contracted some of this out. We decided to try and do it ourselves as much as we can.
And you're exactly correct, and I have to say that the feedback that we're able to get by interacting with the neighboring property owners it's tremendous. They're very happy to see us. We're able to they know who's performing the work. You can have that dialogue, so you know exactly what their concerns are, and we're making sure we're resolving as many issues as we possibly can.
Okay, great. Because I see we just appropriated, or just, passed a resolution on another $3,000 of charges to be added to property owners. So it's something, it's a significant expense we, spend every month for these kind of, abating these nuisances. Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Mike. Next, moving on to Resolution Number 96, 2016, authorizing the filing of an application pursuant to Revised Code Section 2981.12 to authorize the destruction of property that has been surrendered, unclaimed, lost, abandoned, stolen, forfeited, or otherwise lawfully seized. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
And just for anyone that wonders what this is about, what we're doing is we're destroying what Chief is, routinely, it's evidence from old cases, correct?
Correct. It's all cases that have been disposed of in court, and it's essentially garbage
Yeah, I saw
from within our property room.
bloody shirts and, all kinds of stuff, right. Okay, thank you. Next, we have Resolution Number 97, 2016, which is a supplemental appropriation within the General Fund and Police District Fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second it?
Mr. Burning?
Aye.
Ms. McFarland?
Aye.
Mr. Honolo?
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next, under old business, do we have any old business before the board?
I just have one. We have a resident, and we've spoken about him on several occasions, Mr. Leslie Edwards, and he's in our community, and we had in Hamilton County, Cincinnati Yoga Day, and he received a special recognition at that time. And it was interesting because we had a lot of our Springfield Township residents there from the Gathering Church and from various neighborhoods. And this man is so flexible, and he's 92 plus years of age, and I've just never seen anyone like that, and I wish I could be that way, but he received that recognition for the work that he's done as far as a Tuskegee Airman. He's a surviving Tuskegee Airman, as well as he's a caretaker for his wife. So he performed and did a little yoga thing and did a line dancing as well. And I'm just, we've got some really, really neat residents in our township. And whenever I hear about something like this, I like to give them the pleasure and recognize them in Springfield Township as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Gwen. Thank you. Next, do we have any new business?
I have none.
I have none.
So we come to citizens' participation. If there's anyone here that would like to address the board this evening, I would ask that you come up to the podium, state your name and address, and then everyone else listen quietly so we can hear what's being said. Yes, Robin?
Yes, Robin Hendley. I live at 6341 Ridgefield Drive. Just a reminder, it's that time of year again, as we all know, the political environment. This Sunday night at 7, from 7 to 9, the Finneytown Civic Association will be hosting the Meet the Candidates Night. Because of a limited slate, we decided to go only with locally contested slate this year, so unfortunately we didn't have room for the judges, but they have been invited to attend. They'll be available, those that come, to answer any questions. They can bring, as the other candidates can, any of their campaign literature and things of that nature. But we seem to have 100% acceptance so far from the commissioner race, the sheriff's race, and the county recorder's race. So there may be other candidates there also. We've invited everyone, but they'll actually be the speakers. Bert Rare from the League of Women Voters will be there. They always do represent the issues table. She'll be available with the ballot language and copies of the ballot for the issues that are on the ballot. She'll have her information related to that. She can assist with anyone that wants to register for next year, and she's assured us that she'll be available to stay for a short time after the meeting to answer any individual questions anyone has. You don't need a member to be there. You don't even have to be on the ballot to be there, so we hope to have a good turnout. Thank you.
Robin?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's always at back here at the Senior Center, Community Center. I missed the last meeting, but it's supposed to be downstairs in room C. But I'm sure if that's changed, somebody will direct you correctly when you go in the door.
7 p.m.
7 to 9.
7 to 9. Okay.
All right,
Good.
thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
All right. Thank you, Robin. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
Hello.
Mr. Bryce.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I am the president of the Lexington Heights Civic Association, and
And Mr. Bryce, just for the record, your name and address so they can take it down.
Angelo Bryce, 1481 Meredith, 328-9785 if you need to call me.
Thank you.
So there was a request in the form of a petition that was issued to you a few months back, and I'm sure that you're aware when it was. And I have no complaints. I come today as the president of the association to commend each and every one that participated within that request. We were overwhelmed. We appreciate the prompt response that was given. Our organization was totally pleased with the performance of the sergeant that came on behalf of the police officers, and then the performances that the police officers have been doing in the community, that the community are seeing a difference. I've gotten the phone call. I've gotten the phone calls in reference to the properties that were discussed. I just want to say, I look forward in the future to working with this committee and this organization, and I just want you to know that we appreciate what you guys did on this last proposal to help this community to be a better community, and we thank you.
Mr. Bryce, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Appreciate those kind words. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening?
Hello,
Yes, sir.
my name is Joe Castrucci. I live at 7773 View Place Drive. Okay, yeah. I'm not a public speaker, but I have some ideas I wanted to bring up. Let me see here. That I outlined. All right, so I am a artist, graphic designer, video producer. I own a skateboard company called Habitat Skateboards. We're sold globally. I'm based out of Finneytown. I run the company out of my home. And basically, I just do marketing, video, visual arts, anything to do with this skateboard company. And then I work for companies like Patagonia and other, freelance jobs. And in doing this, I've collaborated with Pink Floyd, with various independent bands, labels, artists, and I've worked with Charlie Harper before he passed, and I've also worked with Brett Harper as well on products. We've made apparel and skateboards and done marketing launches. And, I see that, you guys showcase Charlie's art on the signs, and, I think it's amazing. He's like probably the most famous modern artist in Ohio. And, everyone knows him worldwide. He's had books published, all these things. Graphic designers, mid-century fans, like artists of all kinds, look up to Charlie in the Harper family. And I think it's amazing he's from here, just, a couple miles from here. When I first moved here, I used to ride my bike to his house, and we'd go through his art. So, I've worked with him closely. And now that this Warder space is going to be developed, I personally think this area we need to showcase Charlie more and, kind of create an identity based off the heritage with him, because he's the most well-known person from here, as far as I could see. So I think that should be a Charlie Harper preserve. That's kind of, I envision a small museum space, a nature trail, a full commemoration to Harper and his heritage in this township. I think it would, to me, you're not going to come across unused space, and the message of all of Charlie's work, which all of us love, was save space for species. And, he was against development, and he was pro, even like local wildlife within the 275 loop. So I envision, to me, there's an opportunity there to create something that would actually be a destination for people in the city. Because right now I see no reason for anyone to come to this area outside of this area. Whereas if you had something that was a distinct destination, like the zoo, or, there's reasons why we go to these places in the city. There's really no reason to come here except for Winton Woods. If you're not from here, I live here, so I go to Kroger, I do all that. But I moved to Springfield Township from the city just because I wanted to be closer to nature, and I do art, so I wanted to be able to work. So I totally related to the Harpers, and it was like sort of a mentor situation. So I have a relationship with Todd Oldham, who owns owns all the intellectual property for Charlie's work, and I've worked with them in the past, and I know Brett Harper, and I just think you guys should consider something like that. I think it would be a better use of the space than anything else. To me, the business district should fall between Galbraith and Fleming and finish what you guys started with. I've seen it grow and I've seen it improve, but there's still a ton of empty space. And from the outside, I would think you work on the business within the business district, then you work on a really distinct destination place, something like this, like something that would get worldwide recognition. And, my background is all marketing, visuals, that's what I do, storefronts and building relationships with people and collaborating. And I just think you would get a ton of attention, positive attention, and bring people into the community to actually, use the local businesses more. So that's my pitch.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? Yes.
Good evening. I'm Carrie Reisner at 856 Denier Place. And I just want to respond to some things that you said earlier, Mr. Hennenkamp, about the no trespassing signs down at Ward are not being antagonistic, and you getting several phone calls, but they're being perceived antagonistic because of what they say, which is violators will be prosecuted. So it's different than the first no trespassing signs that were up, and the language is much stronger, somewhat challenging. And that's being felt by some neighbors.
Same language as I understood it.
Yeah, the signs that are posted are pretty much your standard language. They're not meant to be antagonistic in any such way. It is pretty much your standard language that you would see on any no trespassing sign.
Well, the old no trespassing sign that sits at the base of the two-track from Winton Road, you know what I mean by two-track that goes back? Because that says no trespassing, authorized vehicles only, or something like that. So the violators will be prosecuted is much stronger language and somewhat more challenging. I'm just passing that along.
Gary, the
Because-
reality is, our police are not driving around back there. The only reason that our police would go back there, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, is if they got a call from somebody who lives kind of adjacent to it, that there was something going on untoward back there. We're not patrolling it. We're not trying to look to give people tickets for trespassing. That's not our intent at all. So if you, whether this, you feel like the language, it's not meant to be stronger, we're not patrolling that, trying to look for trespassers. So the only way that we would ever go back, Rob, is that true? The only way you go back there is if you got a call that something was happening?
Correct.
Okay.
I've been here
So-
Thank you.
27 years.
Nothing has changed, really.
Okay, just signs went up. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Which, and a lot of, this had to do in large part with some of our insurance obligations, as we mentioned earlier. So, all right.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
All right, thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Mr. Hennenkamp, can I get the address to this property that you guys are speaking of?
Well, I don't know that I know it. An address, if you know where Whitaker Elementary,
You know where Whitaker Elementary
Whitaker
is?
Elementary, it's on,
Right behind it.
right behind Whitaker Elementary.
I'm not, it doesn't have a mailing address, yeah. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Okay. It appearing that there's not, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
I would like to thank everyone for coming this evening. Have a nice evening.